The written statement of Ms. Murphy will be entered into the hearing record. We will now move to questioning. I recognize myself for 5 minutes. There's kind of a lot to unpack here, but so I spent all of last night reading this binder's full of letters from veterans that came into our office. And I can appreciate the VA's position to protect itself when it engages with the veteran community. I mean, I'm sure over the decades and decades and decades, when letters have been going out to the veterans on their claims, along the way, we've like, hey, we need to add this, we need to take this away, and this is where we are today. And I got to tell you, one time I was on a nuclear submarine, and I was talking to the nuclear engineer, and he was going to teach me how to track the bubble through the reactor on a nuclear submarine. And I think after a week, which is saying something, I was like, hey, how do you make this thing go? And he goes, push the red button. I was like, you mean you spent an entire week trying to tell me how a nuclear reactor works, and you could have said, just push the red button? I was like, we could have saved ourselves a whole lot of time. And after reading these letters, it seems like the VA has gotten too big for itself when it's corresponding with the veteran community, because the letters are just, I was even speaking with lawyers that can't even understand what's written in it. There's got to be a sweet spot in there somewhere that we have to find. The number one issue I hear from veterans, I shouldn't say number one, a very substantial issue I hear when I'm speaking with my veterans is I have no idea what to do because I can't read this letter and I can't pay for someone to read this to me because my district's way out in the country, right? So these guys and gals, it's them checking the mailbox. So my question is, and I have a laundry list of, I mean, this is single space. I can't even read the print. It's so small of ways to course correct this problem. And they seem very simple. My first question is, you said that the letters that are coming back or the responses from the surveys come back to the VA. Ms. Murphy, I caught that. Who is that individual or individuals that receive those letters? And then once they've read them, where does that go?
So, Chairman, we have a survey mechanism. The letters go out. We send a lot of survey invites out. We get a certain percentage back. So far, I think the response rate has been around 18% in the last year that we've been sending out the disability compensation survey letters. Then we look at the feedback. We look at the distribution of the data. But we also make what we call service recovery calls. So we will make phone calls and try to attempt to reach veterans. We call folks who have given us high scores and folks who have given us low scores to see what the reason was for their response. And then we take that feedback and we work closely with the Veterans Experience Office since they own the survey mechanism. And then we start to incorporate that.
So those responses that are read go directly to Judge Fleming's office. Am I tracking that correctly? It just seems like it dies on the vine somewhere. And I don't want that to sound abrasive, giving everything that you have to do.
So there are multiple surveys, sir. The board will have their survey. We have multiple surveys within VBA by different product type. You
said there's 150 letters, I'm assuming different types of letters that go out to our veterans. You said 150 different ones?
From the Board of Veterans Appeals, sir.
150 different letters to go out to a veteran.
Could address that.
That seems like a lot.
Yes, sir, I certainly understand that. And I can give you a breakdown of the different types of letters. We've got docketing letters, so for contested claims. We have letters that we would send to the claimant, letters we would send to the contesting party, initial letters, final letters, and so each one of those would count as a different letter. But you're right, sir, that it's a lot of letters because there's a lot of information that we're trying to convey to our veterans and to our other appellants, and we want to make sure that we're as thorough as possible. So we've tried to tailor the letters as much as possible to the different situations where we might need to send letters or correspond with a veteran or another appellant.
I think we need to step in and refine that number down to a lower number. It seems too excessive to me because in my military experience, the KISS method is the best way to pass information back and forth between two parties. And I think the VA has kind of outpunted its coverage here. So my time's expired, but we'll revisit it on the second round. I'll pass it off. I'll yield to the ranking member.